The Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco is one of the most recognizable landmarks in the United States, stretching across the entrance to the San Francisco Bay. It stands as a symbol of beauty, engineering, and human achievement. Every day, thousands of people cross it, tourists taking photos, commuters heading to work, cyclists passing through, and visitors simply stopping to admire the view. But beneath its beauty, the bridge carries a darker reputation. For years, there have been reports, quiet, unsettling stories shared by people who claim they experienced something they cannot explain. These are not loud, dramatic events. They don't happen in crowded daylight hours. They happen late at night, or during heavy fog, when the bridge becomes almost empty, and the world around it feels distant and unreal. And almost every story begins the same way, with a feeling, a sudden, unexplainable sense that something isn't right. Some witnesses describe walking along the bridge alone, hearing nothing but the wind and the distant sound of traffic. Then, without warning, they feel it, the sensation of being watched, not casually observed, but intensely, like something is focused on them. They turn around, expecting to see another person walking behind them, but there's no one there, just the empty walkway, stretching endlessly behind them. At first, they try to ignore it. They tell themselves it's nothing, just their imagination, just the atmosphere. But the feeling doesn't go away. It grows stronger, and then something appears. Several people have reported seeing shadowy figures standing along the edges of the bridge, completely still, facing the water below. From a distance, these figures look like ordinary people, someone standing quietly, looking out into the fog. But as the witness gets closer, something changes. The figure doesn't move. It doesn't react. And then, without warning, it disappears. Not by walking away, not by stepping out of view. It simply vanishes, gone in an instant. Some witnesses freeze when this happens, unable to process what they just saw. Others walk closer to where the figure stood, only to find nothing there. No sound, no trace, just the cold air and the endless drop into the water below. And it's not just pedestrians. Drivers have reported similar encounters. Late at night, when traffic is light and the bridge is quiet, some drivers claim they've seen someone standing directly ahead of them on the road. A person motionless, illuminated briefly by headlights. But in the next second, the figure is gone. No impact, no movement, nothing in the rearview mirror, just empty road. These moments are so quick, so sudden, that many people question what they saw. They tell themselves it must have been a trick of the light, a shadow, a reflection. But then they hear others telling the same story. Different people, different nights, the same experience. And then there are the figures that seem out of place. Some witnesses say the people they saw didn't look modern. They describe clothing that felt outdated, long coats, unusual shapes, styles that didn't match anything you would expect to see today. These figures don't speak. They don't move like normal people. They simply exist for a moment, and then they're gone. But perhaps the most unsettling experiences are not what people see. It's what they hear. Several individuals have reported hearing faint whispers, carried by the wind. Not clear enough to understand, but close enough to feel intentional. Like someone is trying to say something. One person described walking alone across the bridge during a foggy night when they heard what sounded like their name being called softly from behind them. They stopped, turned around. Nothing. No one. Just fog. Another witness reported hearing footsteps behind them, perfectly matching their own pace. Step for step, as if someone was walking directly behind them, staying just out of sight. They stopped walking. The footsteps stopped. They started again. The footsteps returned. But when they turned around, there was no one there. Moments like these don't feel like imagination. They feel personal, as if something is aware of you, watching you, following you, and yet never fully revealing itself. Many people try to explain these experiences logically. The Golden Gate Bridge is known for its heavy fog, which can distort shapes and create illusions. The lighting, the reflections, the movement of shadows, these can all play tricks on the human mind. The sound of wind moving through the bridge's massive steel structure can create strange noises, whispers, echoes, tones that almost resemble voices. And the height of the bridge, combined with its long, open structure, can make people feel exposed, vulnerable, and uneasy. All of these factors can influence perception. But even with these explanations, some experiences remain difficult to dismiss because they are too consistent, too detailed, too similar. People who have never met, describing the same things, the same figures, the same feelings, the same moments of something appearing and disappearing. And what makes it even more unsettling is that these stories haven't stopped. Even today, people continue to report strange experiences on the bridge. In a world filled with cameras, smartphones, and constant activity, you would expect something to be clearly captured, explained, or proven. But that hasn't happened. There's still no clear answer, no confirmed explanation, just stories. Stories that continue to surface quietly from those who experienced something they cannot forget. Some believe the bridge has become a place where energy lingers, where strong emotions somehow leave an imprint on the environment, a place where moments from the past echo into the present. Others believe it may be something we don't yet understand, something beyond science, something that appears only under certain conditions and disappears just as quickly. And then there are those who believe something far simpler and far more disturbing, that not everything we see belongs to this world. Today, the Golden Gate Bridge remains a place of beauty, a place of travel, of connection, of history. Millions of people cross it every year without experiencing anything unusual. But for some, it becomes something else, a place where reality feels different, where the line between what is real and what is not begins to blur. A place where, for just a moment, they encounter something they cannot explain, something that doesn't follow the rules, something that leaves them with a question they may never answer. So if you ever find yourself there late at night, surrounded by fog, with nothing but silence and wind around you, and you suddenly feel like you're not alone, don't ignore it, because you might not be.